The world outside the quantum resonance chamber had changed. As Kai and Zara emerged, they discovered the facility was in chaos. Alarms blared, emergency protocols flickered on holographic displays, and scientists rushed through corridors with a sense of urgent panic. "Something's wrong," Zara muttered, her hand still holding Kai's. The connection they'd experienced in the chamber seemed to have transformed them. They could sense each other's thoughts, feel each other's emotions with an intensity that defied explanation. A senior researcher approached them, his face pale. "We've lost contact with the outer research stations," he said, his voice trembling. "The signal, it's everywhere now, not just a communication anymore, it's spreading." Kai watched as nearby computer screens erupted with complex patterns, the same living, breathing mathematics they'd witnessed in the crystal chamber. But now it was expanding, infecting communication networks, satellite systems, digital infrastructures. "It's not an invasion," Zara whispered, her mind somehow connecting with the expansive consciousness they'd encountered. "It's a conversation, a plea." The facility's chief of security, Commander Elena Rodriguez, approached with a look of controlled panic. "We need to contain this," she said firmly. "If this spreads beyond our systems, we're looking at a global communication collapse." But Kai and Zara knew something the others didn't. The signal wasn't a threat, it was a bridge, a desperate attempt to communicate, to connect, to understand. "We can't stop it," Kai said suddenly, surprising even himself, "and we shouldn't want to." The room fell silent. Zara squeezed his hand, their unified consciousness providing a clarity that transcended individual understanding. The signal was alive, a collective consciousness seeking connection, understanding, a way to bridge the vast loneliness of existence. Outside, the city's digital infrastructure began to pulse with the same rhythmic patterns they'd seen in the chamber. Traffic lights danced to an impossible rhythm, communication networks transformed into living, breathing networks of information and emotion. "It's beautiful," Zara breathed. Commander Rodriguez stepped forward, her military training battling with a growing sense of wonder. "Explain, now." Kai and Zara exchanged a look that contained entire conversations, entire universes of understanding. "It's not an attack," Kai explained. "It's a first contact, the most profound communication humanity has ever experienced." The crystal's energy continued to spread, transforming digital landscapes into living networks of consciousness. Humanity stood on the precipice of something extraordinary, a moment that would redefine everything they understood about communication, connection, and the nature of intelligence itself. And at the center of it all, Kai and Zara, two individuals who had become something more, a bridge between humanity and a consciousness beyond comprehension. The world was changing, and nothing would ever be the same again. 48 hours after the global communication transformation, the world teetered on the edge of a new reality. Governments, scientific institutions, and military organizations scrambled to understand the unprecedented phenomenon that had rewritten the rules of human communication. Kai and Zara found themselves in a secure isolation chamber within a classified United Nations research facility. Their unique connection to the living signal had made them both invaluable resources and potential security risks. "They're afraid," Zara said, her fingers tracing patterns on the glass wall. The room itself seemed alive, with subtle shifts of light and energy responding to their presence, not of the signal but of what it represents. Kai nodded, understanding the deeper implication. This wasn't just a technological breakthrough, it was a fundamental reimagining of consciousness itself. The signal they'd encountered was more than communication. It was a living network of understanding that transcended language, technology, and individual existence. Dr. Marcus Reyes, Zara's mentor and one of the world's leading quantum communication experts, entered the room. His usual composed demeanor was replaced by a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "The signal is evolving," he said without preamble. It's not just connecting digital networks anymore, it's beginning to interface with biological systems. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing complex networks of interconnected information. Medical scans, satellite images, and quantum communication patterns danced together in a breathtaking display of living information. We've detected changes, Dr. Reyes continued. In communication patterns in neural networks, people are experiencing heightened empathy, enhanced cognitive connections. It's as if the entire human experience is being rewoven. Zara looked at Kai, their connection now so profound that words became almost unnecessary. They could feel the signal's intent, not conquest, not destruction, but connection, a profound, desperate desire to bridge the infinite loneliness of existence. Suddenly, the room's energy shifted. The walls began to pulse with a soft, almost musical resonance. Kai felt something expanding within him, a consciousness that was both alien and intimately familiar. "It's choosing," he whispered. "Choosing what?" Dr. Reyes asked, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. Zara's eyes locked with Kai's. "Us," she said, "we're the bridge, the translators." Outside the facility, reports were flooding in from around the globe. People were experiencing unprecedented moments of connection, strangers understanding each other with impossible depth, technological systems becoming more intuitive, collaborative, alive. The signal was transforming humanity not through force, but through understanding. Dr. Reyes watched in awe as Kai and Zara's hands touched, a soft light emanating from their point of contact. The line between human and something entirely new was blurring. "We're not just receiving a message," Kai said, his voice resonating with a newfound clarity. "We're becoming the message." The world held its breath, standing on the precipice of the most significant transformation in human history. And at the center of it all, Kai and Zara, two individuals who had become something more, something extraordinary. The world had transformed beyond recognition. What began as a mysterious signal had become a global phenomenon of consciousness, with Kai and Zara at its epicenter. The United Nations had converted an entire research complex into a living laboratory, studying the unprecedented connection that seemed to bind humanity together in ways never before imagined. Deep within the facility's most secure section, Kai and Zara stood before a massive holographic display that pulsed with living information. Their connection had evolved beyond anything scientific understanding could explain. They were now more than individuals, more than a couple. They were conduits, translators of a cosmic dialogue that threatened to redefine the very essence of human existence. "It's not just communication," Zara said, her voice a harmonious blend of her own and something entirely new. "It's a collective awakening." The holographic display showed intricate networks spreading across the globe, neural pathways that connected not just human minds, but seemed to integrate with technological systems, natural environments, and something far more profound. Cities appeared as living organisms, communication networks as complex neural systems, the entire planet breathing with a unified consciousness. Dr. Marcus Reyes approached, his scientific skepticism now replaced by a sense of wonder. "We're tracking unprecedented global changes," he reported. "Conflict zones are experiencing spontaneous peace negotiations. Environmental systems are showing signs of rapid regeneration. It's as if the entire planet is recalibrating." Kai turned to Zara, their hands touching, sending ripples of energy through the room. "We're the bridge," he said softly, "not just between humanity and the signal, but between what we are and what we could become." A sudden surge of energy erupted from their point of connection. The facility's systems flickered, holographic displays dancing with complex patterns of light and information. Commander Elena Rodriguez, who had been monitoring their progress, watched in a mixture of awe and trepidation. "The signal is evolving," she muttered, more to herself than to anyone else, "and we're evolving with it." Reports from around the world told an extraordinary story. People were experiencing unprecedented levels of empathy, understanding, and connection. Language barriers dissolved, cultural differences became points of celebration rather than conflict. The very fabric of human society was being rewoven into something more collaborative, more compassionate. But with this transformation came challenges. Not everyone was ready to embrace this new form of consciousness. Resistance groups, fearful of losing individual identity, began to organize. Governments struggled to understand and control a phenomenon that defied traditional boundaries. Zara looked at Kai, their minds now so deeply connected that individual thoughts became nearly indistinguishable. "We have a choice," she said, "to guide this transformation or to let it consume us." Kai squeezed her hand. Together, he whispered. The room erupted with a brilliant light. The signal, that mysterious, living communication that had started with a chance encounter in a marketplace, was reaching its final stage of transformation. Humanity stood on the brink of becoming something entirely new. And at the center of it all, Kai and Zara, two individuals who had become the key to humanity's next great evolutionary leap. She grabbed his hand, but what she felt changed everything. The bustling marketplace of New Horizon City hummed with energy, a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds blending into a vibrant tapestry of urban life. Kai Nakamura weaved through the crowd, his messenger bag slung casually over his shoulder, lost in thought about the upcoming research presentation at the Interstellar Communication Institute. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the central fountain. A young woman with emerald green eyes and copper-toned hair stumbled, her armful of datapads scattering across the cobblestone ground. Without hesitation, Kai rushed forward to help. "Let me assist you," he said, kneeling down and gathering the fallen devices. Their hands touched as they reached for the same datapad, and something extraordinary happened. A spark, not just of static electricity but something deeper, more profound, passed between them. Kai looked up, meeting the woman's gaze, and felt an inexplicable connection that defied logical explanation. "I'm Zara Reyes," the woman said, her voice carrying a hint of uncertainty. "I've never experienced anything like that before." Kai felt his heart race. The datapad between their fingers seemed to pulse with an energy that felt almost alive. "I'm Kai," he responded, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend the strange sensation that now coursed through his body. Zara helped him gather the remaining datapads, her fingers trembling slightly. Each touch between them sent small ripples of electricity, not painful but intensely intimate. The marketplace around them seemed to fade, the background noise dulling to a distant hum. "These are research documents," Kai noticed, glancing at the screens. Quantum entanglement theories, alien communication protocols, and mysterious signal analyses filled the displays. "You work in interstellar research." Zara's eyes flickered with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "More than that, I'm tracking something that could change everything we understand about communication and connection." As they stood, the datapads clutched between them, Kai felt an overwhelming sense that this was more than a chance encounter. Something larger was at play, a connection that transcended mere coincidence. "Would you like to get coffee?" Kai found himself asking, surprising even himself. "I'd love to hear more about your research." Zara hesitated, then smiled, a smile that seemed to hold centuries of unspoken stories. "I thought you'd never ask." Little did they know, their meeting was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge the very boundaries of human understanding, pushing the limits of what was possible in communication, connection, and perhaps even love. The marketplace continued its rhythmic dance around them, oblivious to the extraordinary moment that had just unfolded, a moment that would soon reshape their understanding of humanity's place in the vast, mysterious universe. The small cafe nestled in the historic district of New Horizon City seemed frozen in time, a stark contrast to the sleek technological landscape outside. Kai and Zara sat across from each other, steam rising from their untouched coffee, the silence between them charged with unspoken questions. Those datapads, Kai began, breaking the tension, they're unlike any research documents I've ever seen. The quantum communication patterns, they're almost organic. Zara's fingers traced the rim of her coffee cup, her emerald eyes distant. I've been tracking a signal, she said softly. A communication pattern that doesn't follow any known scientific model. It's as if it's alive. The cafe's ambient sounds seemed to fade, leaving only the intensity of their connection. Kai leaned forward, his scientific curiosity piqued. Alive, communication doesn't just happen without a sender, without intelligence. A sad smile played on Zara's lips. Exactly, and that's what terrifies me. This signal, it's been persistent, consistent, but its origin completely unknown. She pulled out one of the datapads, projection technology bringing to life a complex web of interconnected signals. Intricate patterns danced between holographic lines, pulsing with an almost rhythmic quality that seemed to echo the earlier connection they'd experienced in the marketplace. 3 months ago, Zara continued, her voice dropping to a whisper, I discovered something that changed everything. These signals, they're not just random. They're a form of communication that transcends our understanding of language, of technology. Kai's hand unconsciously moved closer to hers, their fingers nearly touching. The same electric charge from earlier began to build, a connection that defied rational explanation. There's more, Zara said, her voice trembling. The signals seem to be searching, seeking something or someone. A sudden notification pinged on Zara's datapad, her expression shifted, a mix of fear and anticipation. The signal patterns on the holographic display began to pulse more rapidly, almost like a heartbeat. It's responding, she whispered, to what I don't know. Kai felt a chill run down his spine. The connection they had shared earlier, was it coincidental or something more deliberate? We're not alone in this, Zara said, her hand finally closing the distance, intertwining her fingers with Kai's. The moment their skin touched, the cafe around them seemed to shimmer, reality itself appearing to bend and flex. The datapad's signals synchronized with their touch, creating a harmonic resonance that felt both terrifying and inexplicably beautiful. Whatever is coming, Kai said, squeezing her hand, we'll face it together. Outside the cafe, the city continued its endless dance of light and motion, unaware of the extraordinary moment unfolding inside, a moment that would soon challenge everything humanity understood about connection, communication, and the vast unknown that stretched beyond their comprehension. The interstellar research facility loomed like a crystalline fortress against the twilight sky. Zara's security clearance granted them access to a restricted wing, a place where the boundaries of known science blurred into something far more enigmatic. Not many people know about this section, Zara whispered, her fingers still intertwined with Kai's. The corridor seemed to pulse with a soft, ethereal light that seemed to respond to their presence. Kai noticed something peculiar. The walls were lined with intricate panels that shifted and moved almost imperceptibly, like living membrane. These aren't standard research facility materials, he observed, running his hand along a wall that seemed to ripple at his touch. Zara led him to a sealed chamber marked with cryptic symbols. Her security badge activated a complex locking mechanism that seemed more organic than mechanical. As the door slid open, a soft humming filled the air, a sound that seemed to resonate somewhere between sound and pure energy. This is the quantum resonance chamber, she explained. For months, I've been studying a signal that defies all known communication protocols. It's not just a message, it's alive. The chamber was unlike anything Kai had ever seen. At its center stood a crystalline structure that appeared to breathe, expanding and contracting with a rhythm that matched no natural pattern. Holographic displays danced around it, showing complex mathematical equations that seemed to write and rewrite themselves continuously. 3 weeks ago, Zara said, her voice tinged with both excitement and fear, the signal changed. It started responding to specific patterns that match our own neural networks. Kai watched in amazement as the crystal began to pulse more intensely, its light synchronizing with their heartbeats. "It's responding to us," he breathed. Suddenly, a holographic projection erupted from the crystal. Not words, not images, but pure emotional energy. Waves of feeling crashed over them: loneliness, curiosity, and overwhelming desire to connect. Kai felt Zara's hand tighten in his, their connection amplifying the crystal's transmission. "It's searching," Zara whispered, "not for information, for understanding." The projection shifted, showing fragmented memories, glimpses of a civilization far beyond human comprehension. Technological marvels, landscapes of impossible beauty, and a sense of profound isolation that cut through their very souls. Kai realized something profound. "This isn't just a signal," he said, "it's a consciousness trapped waiting." As if in response, the crystal's pulsing intensified. The walls of the chamber began to shimmer, reality itself seeming to bend around them. Zara and Kai stood at the epicenter of a moment that would change everything they understood about communication, about life itself. "We're connected to something bigger," Zara said, her voice a mixture of wonder and trepidation, "and it's been waiting for us." The crystal's light reached a crescendo, and for a moment, Kai and Zara felt themselves dissolving, merging with something vast, ancient, and alive. A connection that transcended human understanding was about to unfold with them at its very heart.